What's going on, guys? SeanPierceJohnson here, and today we are taking a look at the Diablo Pro from Framus Guitars D series. So you may be asking yourself, what exactly is the D series? Now, Framus is known for quite impressive custom shop instruments as well as their team-built series, all built in Germany. The D series, however, is their sort of offshore line. I guess you could equate it to like Fender and Squier, Gibson, Epiphone. It's that kind of thing. The guitars are built in China, and I gotta tell you, don't let that scare you from trying one of these things out. If I had to describe the Diablo Pro in my personal experience with it so far, it would be a Super Strat meets SG kind of thing. But it definitely has its own little vibe, and we're gonna take an in-depth look at it today. We have a basswood body, which to me, I find to be a somewhat lightweight and snappy kind of tone wood, but this particular piece of basswood is a lot heavier. It definitely has some heft to the point where I almost thought it was mahogany, but it is basswood. We have a 3-piece maple neck with a tiger stripe ebony fretboard. The fretboard has a 12-inch radius, so the fingerboard feels very flat for all your fast playing needs, but the neck shape is a nice kind of wide shape. It's a little bit fatter than you might think with a flat fingerboard. Personally, I find that I like bigger necks, that's just me, and the flat fingerboard on it is a very interesting combination. What's really cool is the bolt-on neck has a very interesting neck heel to the point where, first off, there's only 2 screws on it, which is very interesting. You don't see it all that much, but it really does allow you to get all the way up to the higher frets without really running into any trouble. It's very comfortable to play. We have a 25.5-inch scale with 22 jumbo frets, and we have a 3-on-3 headstock shape, typical of the Framus guitars that we've taken a look at so far. So it's very interesting to have this sort of Strat-style guitar with the 3-on-3 headstock that you might associate with, say, a Gibson-style guitar. As far as hardware goes, we have chrome tuners up at the headstock and a Wilkinson-designed whammy bar. All in all, it actually stays in tune a lot better than you might think, which we'll hear in a little bit. One of the things that I've really grown to love about this guitar is that from the factory, it comes chock full of Seymour Duncan pickups, and we got 3 of them. We have a JB in the bridge, a vintage staggered single coil in the middle position, and a cool rails in the neck. And I gotta say, it's a very well thought out combination. Each pickup really does relay its own tonal characteristic. I find sometimes with guitars with lots of pickups, nobody really does the homework to decide whether or not these 3 pickups are going to be varied enough in tone to actually denote a versatile guitar. But I gotta say, between just mainly going on the JB and the cool rails, we find a lot of killer tones in that. And of course, you have different combinations since you have a 5-way pickup selector, so very cool. But there's also a push-pull pot on the tone knob for you to split the coils, so you can get full voice humbucker tones as well as split coil tones to get you everything from your Les Paul style humbucker chunk to nice glassy stratty cleans. Now that we've got the formalities of the specifications out of the way, it's time to actually hear how this thing sounds. So we are going to run through an assortment of pedals on the floor that I will bring up when they come into play, and into the front end of my orange Rock Reverb 100 for the cleans and the dirty tones. Now let's go ahead and pull up on the tone knob to split the humbucker sounds, and let's check out the single coil style sounds that we get on the Diablo Pro. Now, if we were to just judge this guitar on the fact that it has these pickups in it and from the tones that we heard, personally, I would call this one of the most versatile guitars for around $1,000. I'm finding a lot of tones that will fit a lot of different styles. I find that the combination between the JB and the cool rails lends a very interesting contrast from bridge and neck position. The cool rails is not quite as hot as the JB, and it has a little bit more of a bluesy quality, so we could probably even make it work for something like jazz. As a matter of fact, let's try that. Going with a clean tone and rolling down the tone knob just a bit, let's go ahead and see if we can conjure up something just a little bit jazzy. Yeah, that's pretty convincing. Sure, it's not going to sound 100% like a jazz box, but it's something that you could actually go ahead and do. I actually really like the JB split. Now, I'm a JB bridge pickup guy, and I find that it still retains that nice attack that I like, but if I slap on some compression, which we're going to use the orange Kong presser for this, I actually find that it can get pretty swashy for that, you know, chicken pickany kind of thing. I also love the neck pickup, full voice, and just the way that it has this really cool, expressive kind of tone to it. Just kind of mellow, but just it hits me right here. Let's go ahead, slap on a little bit of light grit from a full tone OCD. I also find that the in-between position with the full voice JB and the staggered single coil is a very interesting articulate kind of sound. Not quite that quacky kind of in-between sound, something a little bit different. And if you want something a little bit more quacky, just split the coil, and there you go. Kind of comforting. And the best part about it is with this gain setting, I can actually turn down the volume for the neck pickup and get more of an expressive light crunch to a solo tone and switch to the JB and I have something a little bit more aggressive. The other thing that we didn't touch on, and what we should probably touch on, is the tremolo system, or whammy bar, because this is a pitch effect, not a volume effect. We should see how well this stays in tune. So, for the sake of, testing it as it should be tested, let's go ahead and tune up the guitar first. Now just a little bit of light wavering with the whammy bar. Still seems in tune. Let's go a little heavier. That's pretty incredible. And that was a little taste of the Diablo Pro from Framus's D series of guitars. Now, when I first got this guitar, I was not sure if I was gonna really get along with it. The neck shape felt a little weird to me at the outset. I can't really explain why, it just did. But after a week of only playing this guitar, I got used to it and found that I really enjoyed it. The combination of a thicker neck with the flat fingerboard I found really facilitated a lot of great playing. Personally, what I would do if I were to be keeping this guitar, because this is going back to the company, they've generously loaned it to me to show off to you guys, I would raise the action a little bit. It comes a little bit low for my taste. However, I will say that the low action makes for some very easy, fast playing if that's your speed. No pun intended. The whammy bar stays in tune great. I am very surprised by that. Most non-locking whammy bar systems do not stay in tune very well at all. Couple that with the amount of sounds that you can get from the different Seymour Duncan pickups, which is a big, big plus. $1,000 guitar, you get Seymour Duncan pickups. That's pretty spectacular. I am very thrilled with it. As I said earlier, I would go so far as to say that this is probably one of the most versatile guitars that you can get for $1,000 and under. I think you can get these right now for around $799 retail, and they'll probably work up to the $1,000 mark. But the fact that you get this much guitar for that much money, that's really one of the cool things about musical instruments right now, is we are starting to get really quality instruments from places that before we probably thought were less than stellar, but not so anymore. These things are playing great, they're sounding great, and I definitely want to say thanks to Framus for lending me this guitar to show off to you guys. But I'd also love to know what you thought of the Framus Diablo. Please let me know in the comment section below, and please click that subscribe button when you see it so you don't miss any more demos coming up here in 2019. Thank you all for spending your time with me today. I always love to have you guys check out the awesome gear that I get in here with me. And until next time, my friends, I'm SeanPierceJohnson, and I wish you all great tone and happy stomping. Cheers, my friends.